Food, electricity, gas, everything is on the rise, spiking to year-long records, price-wise that is. Numerous companies are joining this alarming trend of raising price tags on the most essential things. We're talking canned food and pasta, not caviar, and the government not doing much. In fact, Finance Minister Victor Lieberman claiming that Israel was experiencing the mildest price rise in the world, but after massive public uproar, he ordered a committee to examine, quote, cynical exploitation of some companies, or by some companies more accurately. One of them already caving into the pressure, the awesome conglomerate announcing this evening it will postpone the pending price raise, but civil anger is mounting, and it's to an extent a race between rage and greed now over who will come on top. So to talk about it all, I am joyfully joined here in studio by Dr. Alex Coman, economic expert from the Tel Aviv University. So, Dr. Coman, you were here in studio a short while ago, and you said clearly it starts with pasta, but it never ends there. It's not always fun to be right, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's never, actually, it's said to be right, especially now that we have this pincers movement, because both the government is raising prices of electricity, gasoline, etc., and at the same time, the private sector, you mentioned, awesome, but we see basically economics is psychology. And so once some companies say they're raising the prices, everybody becomes optimistic. And whether they have justification or not, because there is some justification with the logistics, but it's really a minute item, particularly given the fact that the shekel is so strong. So they only look at
abroad, not here. Here you can't buy anything.
Exactly. In Israel, it buys nothing. Abroad, it's really...
But you were talking about psychology, and in this respect, Osem again saying it will halt the price raise. Sano, another major conglomerate, saying it will lower prices. So are we expected to see an opposite trend, or is it not really working like that?
I think that first of all, they're quite sophisticated. So they raise prices and they also shrink packages. So very often we do not realize whether it's 40 grams or 36 grams. So it's a combination that is not always easy. So I do not believe that realistically prices would go down. I believe they would go up. I think people are exhausted, these 2 years of COVID and the kids at home and working or not working.
Yeah, we were desperate to other types of news, and now we get it.
So I think that people today are not really enraged enough. To actually, the example we should learn from is the ultra-religious Jews, because they have many kids, they have low income, so they do not buy brands, and if something is expensive, they do not buy it, so they would buy the same product only on a private label, for instance, of their chains, and they could buy products at up to 50% the price that we pay.
But before we talk about what civilians can do, you mentioned the uptick in also government rates. And I must ask you, what does oil prices around the world have to do with city tax? Oil, we pay gas, that is, we pay tax to the state. So lower the tax. I don't understand the rationale here.
First of all, if you look far away into the sea, you see that we do have some gas. So how come electricity is becoming more expensive? Because coal is expensive. Why are we using coal, which is both expensive and polluting, when we have our fabulous gas right here? So this is one point that is weird. I agree, municipalities. I don't think that municipalities have to
shift anything. City tax is rising now.
Yes,
why?
Yes. It's the excitement. If Bamba goes up, let's join the party.
So the main question that remains: what can be done on the governmental level? Whether this committee Victor Lieberman tasked with examining has any teeth, and second, what can Israelis themselves do?
First of all, a committee is a place where you put things to sleep. Because by the time you form the committee and it sits and it drinks some coffee, etc., people forget. Yeah. And I do not remember many committees that were really effective. So the only thing that can be expected is if people are angry. And what we saw in the previous uproar, a social uproar, there was a focus on housing. People said we cannot afford housing, and this was the thing.
That was back in 2011, though.
And it was in the summer. So in the summer, students are in the summer vacation. It's a lot of fun to be in the streets. It's warm. It's nice. Nobody would go to the streets now. Now is exam period, so you don't have any students. It's raining, so you will not see people going to the street. So the thing that we need to do is focus on one or two products. You cannot fight a broad war. Find one or two products or one or two suppliers and massacre them by boycotting them. And suppliers need to see that this happened with Nuva, for instance, with the cottage. Nuva saw that it was sitting on inventory that was going rotten. And they could smell it.
Before we let you go, Dr. Coman, if in my next trip to the supermarket, what should I do?
Don't buy Osem and don't buy brands.
Fair enough. Will do, sir.